Welcome to the Fantasy Football Anonymous Show, brought to you by No One and Nothing as always. And I'm Rob Shaw. I'm here with, well, it's just me. Y'all are stuck with me tonight. Guys are a little preoccupied on a cruise this week, so I can talk junk about them all I want tonight. No, all kidding aside. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter show tonight. I'm just going to run through a few thoughts and give you some players you want to start. Maybe I'm cooling off on and some sleepers for this week. First thing I want to do is just kind of reflect on last week. The NFL's another crazy week as always. It just seems like there's always just surprises. Leonard Fournette not doing anything. Hard to predict that stuff. But I'm just going to go ahead and look at the biggest thing I learned from last week. I'm going to run through that. Hopefully we might mess with the format a little bit of the show in the future, so maybe get the other guys' opinions as well through each week. But the biggest thing I learned was that the Patriots are incredible this season. And that seems like a no-brainer, but they just dismantled Denver. The defense of Denver has played pretty well this season, haven't been as elite as they have been in the past, but it didn't matter. Brady was on fire, hitting everybody. Seemed like he was getting everybody involved. And the Patriots stock is going up. A lot of players I'm buying into this week with them going up against the Raiders. I'm in on Brady. I'm in on the receivers, the tight ends, some of the running backs. I'll get into that a little bit later in the show. But yeah, that offense is incredible. You can start any of those guys with confidence each week, especially Brady. I mean, he's the center of it all. If I didn't already need to say that the Patriots are really good, I'm saying it right now. This offense is elite, and I see this team Super Bowl this year. It'll be exciting. It'll be fun to see. The other thing I want to go over is just one of the games that I'm looking forward to this week the most. And apparently I'm on a New England kick here today because I'm going with the Patriots versus Raiders this week. This game is fantasy football gold. If you're in daily fantasy leagues, I would be looking at the Raiders roster and the Patriots roster. Both these defenses aren't that good. The Raiders defense has not been good at all. Patriots have played better, but they've been known to give up some points. They gave up some points to Denver, a very inefficient offense. Brock Osweiler actually looked decent, and I think a lot of that had to do more so with the Patriots defense he was going up against. Their pass defense is very weak. So to see this game, I think the Patriots are clearly going to win. But I think there will be a lot of points, and I think it's going to be compelling early on. Just a shootout, good old-fashioned shootout. So if you're going to watch one game, if there's a game you got to miss, don't miss this one. And I'll do one more game I'm looking forward to. And that's Dallas against the Eagles. The Eagles have been fantastic this season, and Dallas has looked very good, but no Ezekiel Elliott. They lose a big part of their offense, and it showed last week. They could not get the ball running. I was wrong on that. I whiffed on Alfred Morris. I was talking him up last week. Missed it there. And it'll be interesting to see who gets more targets, Smith or Morris. I think it's going to be a true timeshare. I'm kind of uneasy about starting those players, though you might have to. But this game's going to be great, and I think the Eagles are going to win because Zeke is not there. He's that important to this offense, that big of a weapon. And Dak Prescott looked bad. He did not look good. A guy who usually rises to the occasion every time in his career. He did not look good. And I think the Eagles defense will pose some problems, especially shutting down the run. I see that happening. And there will be some points scored on both sides, but I don't think the Eagles' offense can be stopped right now. They are phenomenal with Wentz, Jeffrey, adding Jay Ajayi, Zach Ertz finally getting up to speed. I'm starting all your Eagles this week. Getting into some of the games, some of the players that I love this week. I mean, I already said it, and I'm just going to say it one more time. Tom Brady, start him. He's the number one guy this week, without a doubt, against the weak Oakland Raiders pass defense. He is going to carve them up like beavers, I guess. Anyways, little Chris Kamara reference there, soccer announcer. I like Melvin Gordon this week as well. One thing I've noticed, the Buffalo Bills defense was very good early in the season. And the run defense, especially, not so much nowadays. And they have been terrible. Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, they just couldn't stop it. They knew they were running the ball, and they still couldn't stop it. So Melvin Gordon, especially with Phillip Rivers potentially missing the game because of concussion, still kind of up in the air. It's looking like he'll play, but they might lean more heavily on Melvin Gordon this game, and I don't think the Bills are going to be able to contain him. He's going to have big numbers. He's my guy that I love this week. And receivers, he didn't have a huge week last week. I see that changing this week. I know he has Ryan Fitzpatrick as his quarterback, but in the past, if you followed Ryan Fitzpatrick's career, he usually can have one receiver who puts up big numbers in a game. I like Mike Evans this week. Miami did not look good defensively at all. Carolina was just all over them. A Carolina offense that has struggled at times this year, though I do like where they're at. Still, that's a lot of points you give up to that team. They didn't put up a fight, and I think Mike Evans is going to attack that secondary. I like him this week to have a huge week. And as far as the tight end goes, Zach Ertz, what more do I have to say? He's been great all season. I've always kind of ragged on him over the years, but he's really developed into a amazing tight end. Top tier guy, especially in fantasy football. And Wentz is going to be looking for him. And I already said that Dallas defense is, mediocre at best. So, yeah, start Zach Ertz. Take him in daily fantasy. He's a surefire thing this week. Some of the guys that I'm a little on this week, one is Jared Goff. And as a Jared Goff owner in a 2-quarterback league, I've been very pleased with the way Jared Goff's been playing. He's been playing some incredible actual football, but putting up great fantasy numbers, really just carrying people's team. I just don't know how I feel against him going up against this Minnesota defense. A Minnesota defense that I do have to admit, like Kirk Cousins, score in the upper 20s. So make what you will. Jared Goff has been doing this against lesser talent, these big numbers. All I'm saying is don't expect those big numbers this week against Minnesota. I don't see that happening. I think Gurley's going to be involved quite a bit, and I think he'll score his points. I'm projecting 15, and he's ranked way too high to be only 15 points. And that's, I think, the best. At best, he's going to get 15 points. I'm staying away from Goff this week if you have better options at quarterback. Tevin Coleman. So with Devontae Freeman's status up in the air, looking like he won't play with that injury, Tevin Coleman rises to be the starting running back. My thing with that is when he was a rookie, he started off as the starting running back before Devontae Freeman eventually took him over. He got outplayed by Freeman, even though there were some injuries involved there. I don't see Tevin Coleman as an every down back. He is an amazing change of pace back in real football and fantasy football. I'm just not buying it this week, especially against the Seahawks, which have been a little more human on the defensive side. But Adrian Peterson couldn't do anything against Seattle last week. I don't see Tevin Coleman having a great game. I'm low on Tevin Coleman. Michael Thomas. Usually you think, hey, Drew Brees, they throw the ball a lot. Well, guess what? Drew Brees had 13 points last week. Michael Thomas was great in PPR, but had 100 yards, good performance. But he's going up against Washington. They have very good corners, and this is a running team. I just see them running the ball so much that I don't know if I can really have Michael Thomas as a tier 1 guy anymore. He's more of a tier 2, and I like him at there, but right now he's being usually ranked in the top 5 this week. I don't like the matchup, even though Washington's defense has been a little inconsistent, but I'm just not feeling the matchup. I feel like Kamara and Ingram are the guys to own. And I'm even a little cool on Brees each week. Kind of depends on who he's playing, but this is definitely a run-first team. And I can't believe I'm saying that. It's just they've always been behind all these years that they've had to throw. Saints are really good. That's really all I can say about them. They are playing amazing football. Huge winning streak. And I am not starting the guy on the opposite side of the ball, Jordan Reed. Now, if he plays, you kind of have to, but as a Jordan Reed owner in 2, yes, that's right, 2 leagues, it's been a headache for you guys, all you Jordan Reed owners out there. And what I can say is if you have better options, do it, because yes, he had one great game, and there's always the potential for that. Charles Clay, or heck, even a Vernon Davis floating around, they might be a better option for you. Maybe even Croft from Cincinnati. I don't love the matchup with this improved New Orleans defense, and he's just a headache. He might get hurt. We really just have to wait out, and Jordan Reed might be best next season. So that's, yeah. Just, I'm sick of Jordan Reed. God bless him. He's great. But as a fantasy owner, it's frustrating. I know. So here's some guys, especially in daily fantasy. Daily fantasy is great because you can find that sleeper, that low-priced guy that, people aren't thinking is going to do anything. And, they could have a huge game. Schroeder, I got to give you credit. I said I was going to talk crap about you. I'm not. You said Charles Sims as a deep, deep, deep sleeper would be a good play last week. Wow, he got a touchdown. Congratulations. 9 points. That's very good in daily fantasy. If you can find guys like that are going for the league minimum, you can make that can be, make your week if your stars actually perform. That's a little trickier to predict, but yeah, find these guys. These are the guys that I like this week. If you're looking to save some money on quarterback, good streaming option if you have any bye weeks. Watching him play on Monday night against the Panthers, very good defense. And you know what? He looked pretty good for his, at his age and known for making a lot of bad mistakes. And he did have that awful interception before the half to Kuechly. But he was finding targets. He was getting guys open. And, I like what Parker's been doing. Landry looked all right. And heck, even the running backs were getting involved, which was pretty impressive from the Miami side of the ball. But I like Jay Cutler at the helm of it all. And going up against Tampa Bay, a Tampa Bay defense that played pretty good last week, but let's face it, the norm is that they struggle against the pass. And I think that's going to happen this week. I actually have Miami beating the Buccaneers this week. And I think Jay Cutler's going to have a nice game. He could put up 20 points. He could be a great start this week. I actually like those receivers as well this week, both of them, Landry and Parker. Rex Burkhead's a guy that comes to mind when I think of sleepers this week. He had a great week last week. Had gotten the end zone, had double-digit points, and he's getting more playing time. One of the things I'm learning, I think this is the end of the Mike Gillislee era. Much like LeGarrette Blount, he's just been too predictable. He's a one-dimensional back. While I like him as a running back, Bill Belichick's on a whole nother level. He'll let guys go. One guy scored 4 touchdowns years ago, and then the guy got cut 2 weeks later. So yeah, I like Burkhead. I think he's getting more involved in the offense. I still think Dion Lewis is he's seen a lot more. He's kind of the bigger name right now. But Burkhead's a really cheap option in your daily fantasy. And again, they're going up against Oakland. This is going to be a 40-point game for the Patriots. So there's plenty of points out there. And I think Burkhead could see a lot more of those this week. Marquise Lee, another guy who had a very good week last Sunday. And he's kind of rising stock a little bit right now. Kind of thought he was going to be the guy with Allen Robinson out. Kind of been a little inconsistent and quiet, but he's getting the targets and he's playing Cleveland. I don't really need to analyze that a whole lot more, just that he's a little down on people's lists, and I think he should be higher. This is a week where he might have his best week of the year. So I'm all in. Marquise Lee, good play. And for my tight end this week, I'm going with, my Buffalo Bills, who are switching to Nathan Peterman. I think this is the Bills realizing they can't really go much further with Taylor, and they're kind of throwing in the towel, seeing what they got, even at 5-4. But we'll see what happens. That being said, the Chargers' defense is mediocre. They're going to get some pressure on them with Bosa. But I like Charles Clay this week. Last week, coming off of an injury, a little rusty, but he was the main focal point of this offense. Could be a little different with a different quarterback at the helm, but he's currently ranked number 15 amongst most pros, and I think he should be higher this week. I think he's a big target, one of the key players in that offense, and frankly, I think Buffalo will probably be down at some point. So Charles Clay, he could be a really nice play this week. As far as looking forward to this week, I can't wait. I love football. Excited for the guys to get back so we can, debate a little more and, talk crap about one another and have some good laughs as always. That's my thoughts. That's the show. A little shorter this week. And as always, you can subscribe to our channel. Please do. And you can check us out on Twitter at Fantasy Football Anonymous. We also have a Facebook page, Fantasy Football Anonymous. That's our name. As always, everybody, stay addicted.